Hello everyone, my name is Olajumoke Opajobi. I'm a graduate of Max-Migold Training Center. I graduated in the year 2020 and Max-Migold has been an excellent training for me. I went through this training. Hello everyone, my name is Olajumoke Opajobi. I'm a graduate of Max-Migold Training Center. I graduated in the year 2020 and Max-Migold has been an excellent training for me. I went through this training. Hello everyone, my name is Olajumoke Opajobi. I'm a graduate of Max-Migold Training Center. I graduated in the year 2020 and Max-Migold has been an I so enjoyed the training, the team. I got to know about Max-Migold in year 2020 when they put up some flyers on an e-flyer. I saw an e-flyer that talked about facility management training, and it's something I've always shown interest. I've been looking out for what I can do differently as an architect to build myself and add value to myself. Then I got to know about Max-Migold. I followed through and I had a 2 days free training session with Max-Migold, and from there I got so much interest in building my career as a facility manager, and they have helped me. I've gone through the full training and I'm a graduate of Max-Migold. I appreciate that, and they have been wonderful. They have added so much value to my career, and it has been an excellent walkthrough with Max-Migold. Thank you.
My name is Peter Lawa, a facility manager with Triumph Properties and Facility Management. A graduate of FMMC Batch 12, of which prior to that I was a graduate of Physics with Electronics. It's funny when you hear physics and facility management. That shows what facility management can do to you. Coming into this, when I took the course, the 3 months Master Craft class, which was quite intense and very eye-opening. I came into the course with the intention of learning more pending when I will be getting fully employed, because prior to the program I was still in the job market trying to get somewhere to work. So fast forward to the class, I went through a lot, and this kind of broadened my perspective to the everyday activities and everyday objects I see around me. There are opportunities, there are all these things matter, right from the fabric of the material used in painting, decorating, even right off the dust on the table, cleaning.
Hello, my name is Amaka Anasi, and before the facility management diploma, Mastercraft diploma, I was working in the Lagoon School as a facility manager. I heard about the diploma and I attended the free training first because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the diploma. So the free training convinced me that this was it. So I registered for the diploma. It has been worth my while, really. It has been very worth my while. So before the diploma, I had been working in facility management for about 5 years and generally groping in the dark. Making mistakes, learning from costly mistakes. Now with diploma, my facility management strategy has changed. It's no longer firefighting, but even though that still happens occasionally because life happens. But now I know, okay, so I have different maintenance strategies for different assets I can put in place and reach the bins before faults happen, which is the best way of practicing facility management. Then also, I know that some of my colleagues, some of my classmates in diploma have gotten promotions or pay rises, and you want to have that too. And also, through the training, I've been exposed. In fact, I'm still being exposed. I contribute and I learn, by being part of the alumni group, it's wonderful. There's a lot. I'm exposed to industry standards. You hear from other people who are wearing the same shoes as you're wearing, so you're not alone. It's big, that sense of community. And I want to thank Mr. Paul and the team of Max-Migold for the wonderful opportunity. And I encourage you to do the same to start the program.
My name is Adelinji Clements. I work with Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I joined the Max-Migold in January 2022, and which is the diploma program. I enjoyed the program, both the field, practical. There is a practical we hold at Ikoyi. I forgot the name of the address. The plumbing practical, it was awesome and it helped me a lot to improve on at my own site. I started working in Ministry of Foreign Affairs since 2007, and from resident at Ikoyi to our training school at Badagry from 2012, and from there, since then, they tried to introduce Max-Migold to me, in which my organization see that from there I can still gain more experience to improve my career. And since when I joined in the area of asset register, I improve on it. In the area of procurement, I make sure that all our materials and everything is being kept safely. And in the area of maintaining the generator annually also, it helped me a lot. Both the cleaning of the environment, it was so awesome, and Max-Migold we still continue to be great, and we enjoy Mr. Paul, Mr. Emmanuel. I can't remember all our resource people. We really enjoy them, and I pray that God Almighty will continue to help them, and will continue to promote the Max-Migold. Thank you.
Mastercraft program started. I attended a training before, a free training before the Mastercraft program, and I told myself that it would make a lot of sense to do the Mastercraft program. And just my first day at the class, I learned a lot. It was like I wasn't even practicing facilities management all this while. I went home and I went home very fulfilled, and I told myself I have no regrets starting this program. Before then, I didn't have I wasn't called for this interview, but I decided dropping my CV in some comments. Then I got this interview, and when I got there, the way I related with people interviewing me, they really knew that I had a serious idea of what facilities management is all about. And before now, trust me, if I did that interview before the class had started, I don't think I would have gotten the job, because a lot of things I had learned from this place, contract management, facilities management in total, what it's all about and what it entails, brought me out and made me stand out in the interview process. I was able to tell them much about contract management. I was able to tell them much about KPIs and how to supervise and all of that, and how to manage a building and how to manage facilities in the building and what to look out for. And they were very, 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 very impressed with my section. I'm 100% sure it was due to the few lectures, because I've not even gone so far in Mastercraft program when I went for this interview. But the few things I've learned in the class class got me all the ideas, and I was able to move forward and I was able to get the job.
I'm Matthew Ojonuga Friday. Actually, I'm very grateful to be part of this free training. I'm working with Asego Nigeria Limited as a maintenance and servicing engineer. Also, I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. I've been looking into opportunity to build up a career in facility management. And thank God I came across the Max-Migold online on WhatsApp, and I came to the opportunity and I came for the training. Actually, the first time of being here, and I can attest to the fact that the training was absolutely wonderful. I learned something new, very new that I've not learned before. And Mr. Paul is a very wonderful lecturer and also a mentor to say, because what I have downloaded into for this training is worth enough to be a mentor to align with. And I believe as time goes on, I promise to get close and learn more from him, because I believe he has much to deliver. And also I want to comment on his efforts so far to make sure the training was wonderful in terms of free lunch and every other facilities and things which he has made available for everybody.
My name is Ukwati Okoyego. I heard about Max-Migold from a friend referred me. And actually, I just concluded my MSc. I've not actually had another experience different from academics. But coming here today actually has opened my eyes to a lot of opportunities. It has actually made me believe there are lots of opportunities outside academics in terms of the management aspects, the HSC, and more of it. And for the speaker, it was very fantastic. He got everybody wow. He really made good points, and he changed the idea and thought into very effective. And referring people, I think he has actually brought out the positivity for you to talk about what you have learned, which I believe you want to motivate people to come and do better.
My name is Anayo Victor Waboa. I work with Plus World Realtors. Max-Migold has done a great job at lecturing us on facility management training, fundamentals, and specific core competencies in facility management. I really love it because it helped me improve myself better. Despite what I've known, there are still new developments, new process to the way you carry out facility management procedures in your workplace. I was opportunity to ask a lot of questions and get a lot of answers to my questions, and these questions and these answers will rather help me perform better at my work. Yes, Paul Erubami, I've known him for a while now, and he has been so good, he has been so nice. In fact, he called me up this morning, we talked about one or few things concerning facility management and my growth, and I really appreciate him for such an opportunity. Despite not paying any dime for this, yes, we received so much value. We've been here since morning and we are still receiving, and we don't want to go home. I think this training is profitable for everyone who is ready to grow a career in facility management. Thank you very much.
The very first day in class was, my God, wow, you know, the knowledge, everything in the class was just wow. That's what I can say. And today, you know, I've been to different interviews, I've done very well, I've represented very well, and I've worked in one or two organizations. Currently, where I worked, you know, I just joined them this December, and they just made me the head of facilities. Number one was that when I came, there wasn't system at all. Nothing like PPM. They always break down of, you know, service and all of that. So first thing I came, I took the stock, I do a PPM, I create an asset register. They were like, what's going on? So I created the system, all to the knowledge I gained through this institution.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hajia Zainab Saleh, and I'm the Managing Director of Brains and Hammers Facility Management Limited and White Oak Management Services Limited. Both are facilities management companies. Not too long ago, I decided to enroll my staff in a masterclass program organized by Max-Migold Limited. For some of us that are not aware, Max-Migold Limited is a physical facilities management, training, inspection, technology advisory firm. Now, I've known them for quite some time, and I chose, not too long ago, to put my staff through a training program under Max-Migold. And I can assure you that it was worth it. Why do I say that? What value has it brought to me? Or what value has it brought to my staff and to the organization generally? I can assure you there was a change. Why do I say that? Their mindset has begun to change. The way they look at attending to activities and tasks that have been given to them have changed. I mean, I even hear it in their conversations. Execute. You hear them saying, oh no, I remember in class they told me not to do this. Let's do it this way, and let's see how it's going to affect the work at the end of the day. The long and short of all what I'm trying to say to you is that if you have an opportunity to send your staff or yourself to Max-Migold, please do it. It is worth it. And I can assure you, you will see positive changes in your staff and which will eventually impact in your organization. Do go ahead, work with Max-Migold. You will definitely get what it is you're looking for. Have a lovely day.
We have a lot of courses actually, but I have two that are more interesting to me, like procurement management and facility maintenance strategies. Procurement management, it exposes us to so many things about procurement. The difference between procurement and purchase. All that you need to do to abide by the ethics of procurement firm, in procurement, and at the same time maintenance. As an FM that really, puts you at that top, that will really make people appreciate and respect you. The essence of facility, maintenance strategy, the whole essence and objective is to save costs, is to ensure that organization keep running. That's the whole essence of facility operation maintenance. And
Hello, good afternoon. Can someone hear me?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chinedu.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for making out time. Sure. So today we are going to be discussing about fire safety exit plans. So our theme today is Zero Excuses for 2026. And before I continue, a lot of us know what happened around the later part of 2025 with fire incidences happening at different facilities in Lagos. And most times when you analyze what really happened, you would ask yourself if actually there was a presence of a competent facility management across those sites that fire incidents happened. But that's not what we're going to dwell on for this. So let's go direct into the business of the day. Please, can someone help me share the screen? I'm not seeing the screen. Hello, can someone hear me?
Yes, you can hear me. Try to share the screen.
Okay, please help me share the screen. So our course outline for today is fire risk and life safety fundamentals. Can you zoom it in a bit? It's a bit tiny from my end.
Please
So move to the
confirm if you
next
can see
slide.
it.
Yes, I can see the screen. Just move to the course outline. Yes. After completing this course, you would have a clear understanding of why fire codes exist, why fire codes and exit planning are critical life safety responsibilities. You will also be able to identify common fire codes violation and exit plan failures in your facilities. You can apply practical strategies to improve fire preparedness and emergency response across your site. Also, you gain clarity and clarify the facility manager's role in fire prevention, compliance, and fire drills. And also, you commit to zero excuse mindset for protecting lives and properties. So if you're looking at it from, although fire prevention is everyone's responsibility, right? Fire safety is everyone's responsibility. But then as a virtue of being a facility manager, the responsibility falls more on you to ensure that you avoid anything fire, both at home and also at your facilities. So you have to really be 2 steps ahead of every other person in the facility as the facility manager. Can we move to the next slide, please? So the course outline for today is fire risk and life safety fundamentals, fire code and regulatory compliance, fire detection and suppression systems, exit design and means of egress, emergency planning and evacuation, roles and responsibilities in fire safety, inspection, audits, and continuous improvement. Then we finally conclude. So at the end of this course, you would have a clearer understanding and a practical means of applying all that we have outlined today. Let's move to the next slide. Understanding fire risk in modern facilities. So basically most of the office spaces and residential apartments we have currently could be classified as modern facilities. And it has been established that modern facilities contain complex systems that increases fire ignition sources. So what do we mean by complex systems that increases fire ignition sources? So in that your office space, you would there are there are wooden chairs or workstations made of wood. There are rugs, there are papers. So these are things that can ignite fire. In other sense, it is called fuel. So these are things that can fuel fire. So there is every likelihood that this would act as a catalyst when there is a fire outbreak. So that's what we're talking about, that modern facilities contain complex systems that increases fire ignition. So for the fact that you have these things within your facility, that means you have to be extra careful so as to what? Avoid fire outbreak. Then electrical faults and overloaded systems remain the leading fire cause across most facilities. So there are times when you hear about fire outbreak caused as a result of electrical spark, maybe from the DB, from the fuse, from anywhere that has connections, electrical connection. So this, over time, has caused more fire outbreak than every other thing within a facility. That's what this is talking about. That also means that you have to be extraordinarily careful during maintenance, during working, during operations across all these electrical connections. High occupancy density raises evacuation and fire and life safety challenges. So let's take a practical look at this. If you have a facility where we have just 10 users, 10 occupants, 10 visitors, whatever it is, a facility that is occupied by 10 people, when there's a fire incident, there is every likelihood that it is easier to evacuate 10 people. Actually, it is easier to evacuate 10 people than when you have about 200 people within a facility. So that facility that has high occupancy density, high people visiting, high people using the facility at all times, it's more difficult to evacuate people when the facility is fully occupied, when there are more people on the facility than when there are less people on the facility. So that's what we are talking about here. High occupancy density raises evacuation and life safety challenges. Poor housekeeping. Housekeeping is one of the basic facility managers are supposed to be are supposed to take very seriously as part of their duty. There are ways how poor housekeeping can increase the risk of fire safety and increases dangers to life in case of fire outbreak. So let's take, for example, you have an office space where cable management is so terrible. You have your workstations properly aligned in rows and in columns. Everywhere is just scattered and chaotic. If there is a fire outbreak, it will be more difficult for people to run to the exit route in that situation than when you have a properly kept facility where everyone knows the road to follow in a case of emergency. So it is very critical that at all times, facility managers ensure that their facility is properly kept, good cable management, proper rows and columns, tables aligned, workstations properly set and designed. This helps to reduce risk of damages when there is a fire outbreak, and not just limited to fire outbreak, for every other thing that could happen within a facility. And it gives it a good outlook as well. Then moving forward, aging infrastructure increases the likelihood of system failure and fire incidents. So this is actually self-explanatory. Aging infrastructure. So when you have the assets, equipment, infrastructures within your facility are old, one, it increases maintenance costs. Two, it increases the likelihood of fire outbreak. And also it costs a lot more. What we are talking about is as much as possible when your infrastructure, when your equipment, when your assets are getting old, it's just good to repair and renew them as soon as possible. Let's move to the next slide, please. So this slide, we are talking about the impact of fire incident on lives and assets. Impact, what does fire incident do to lives, properties, and assets? Fire incident poses immediate threats to human life and occupant safety. Fire incident poses immediate threats to human life and occupant safety. Can anyone really work in a facility where there is fire incident? No. Because of what? Your system automatically knows that this is not where it belongs to. This is harmful. So when there is fire, there is always chaos. People run helter-skelter because there is imminent danger. There is harm. It's a threat. So fire impacts in lives of humans within the facility and also in the assets. Injuries and fatalities often result from delayed detection and evacuation. Injuries and fatalities. It is easier for you to evacuate people in the facility. It is easier for you to evacuate a healthy person, someone that can run with his or her legs, than for you to evacuate someone that's been injured. It is easier for you to assist someone to leave a facility than for you to carry someone. It takes more time, it takes more energy, it requires more people to do that. So this is another impact of fire incident within a facility on lives and assets. Of course, any asset that is engulfed by fire automatically is damaged. Then property damages from fire leads to costly repairs and asset loss. Obviously, if it can actually be repaired, it costs more, and in some cases, it requires total overhaul and renewal. So what we are talking about here is fire incidents usually have a very grievous impact in lives, properties, and assets within a facility, whatever is called a facility. Business operations can be severely disrupted or permanently shut down when there is fire, at least for some months. The facility will be shut down, loss of revenue, and it also goes down to reputational damage, legal liabilities. In most cases, if there is a fire outbreak and someone dies, the family of the deceased might institute a lawsuit, and that lawsuit will drag. And why the lawsuit drags, there are a lot of things that might come up. Your business might be shut down. People might, that's what we're talking about, reputational damage. People might start having doubt to do business with you. That is even why most organizations don't even want to have issues when it comes to safety, especially fire. They avoid it a lot because it causes the reputational damage it has itself, causes the business a lot of damage, money, how people perceive that business, association, your stakeholders will start being wary of investing in this business. So as a facility manager, all these things are necessary for you to understand. That informs your decision on how to approach fire. So what we're talking about here is fire usually affects lives and properties in a very grievous manner. So as much as possible, if you can avoid fire outbreak, can we move to the next slide? Can we move to the next slide, please? Let us look at the overview of applicable fire codes and standards. First, what is fire code? Fire codes are established minimum requirements for life safety and fire prevention. When we talk about minimum requirement for life safety and fire prevention, so these are the list requirement, the listing for you to do so as to prevent fire outbreak within a facility. Example, let's talk about the type of electrical cables you use in connecting your apartment. Sorry. So when you want to, there are industrial cables and there are household cables. So you cannot use industrial cables to fix connections within your house. Let's say the connection that goes from your socket down to your appliances, to your ACs, your television, your fridge. You don't use industrial cables for that. So these are just minimum requirements for and you cannot use the household cables, the one you use within your apartment. You cannot use them to connect Can someone hear me? If you can hear me, please indicate.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right. So we are talking about standards here. We said standards cover detection, suppression, exit, and emergency planning. Let's take a typical example within any of the facilities you manage, right? There are the type of fire that you extinguish with a certain type of equipment. We have water sprinkler system. These are firefighting equipment. We have water sprinkler systems. We have fire extinguisher cylinders. We have what we call FM200. These are different firefighting equipments that fight different type of fire and that fight fire within a certain space and certain area. When I mean area, like the sprinkler system, usually around the car park, large car park areas, it is better because it covers a larger square meter, unlike the fire extinguisher cylinder that is just for a confined area. That is what we're talking about, the standard that is applicable to a certain type of fire that you're fighting. Then requirements vary by building types and occupancy level. That's just exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. So the type of firefighting equipment you use depends on the type of building, the size of the building, how many people are on this building, and so on and so forth. So we say that codes are enforced through inspections. What's happening? Codes are enforced. Can you please be admitting this so that it doesn't block the screen? Codes are enforced through inspections, permit, and approval. If you have fire codes and there is no enforcement on the use of that code, people will violate it because obviously people are naturally, people don't like restrictions. People don't like when you tell them to do this. That's just the nature of man. So if there is a code and there is no follow up on compliance, people will obviously violate it. So enforcing a code, let's say this is the minimum requirement you're going to use to wire for electrical connections within an apartment, and anything outside this is an offense. And there is an agency that monitors that. That is what we call enforcement. There's an agency that monitors that this code is enforced. People adhere to this code. So if there is no agency like that, people will just do anyhow. And obviously, we have seen it across board due to the poor regulation and enforcement we have in our society. Then compliance. Compliance ensures that people align with legal and safety expectations. So that's also the responsibility of this agency to ensure that there is compliance. So if you have a code and people don't comply to it, the code is as good as nothing, right? So what we just talked about are applicable fire codes and standards. Always remember codes, standards, requirements, and also for all these things to work collectively, there must be compliance. And who ensures compliance? There should be an agency set up by government to ensure that people respect these codes and standards, just so we avoid or minimize. Most times people will tell you fire is unavoidable. It is highly unavoidable, but when it happens, we should, as much as possible, try to minimize the effect of fire on both lives, properties, assets, and everything you can find within a facility. Can we move to the next slide? Legal responsibilities and consequences of non-compliance. Facility managers, when we started this session, I established the fact that fire safety is everyone's responsibility, regardless of your role, regardless of your duty, regardless of your position. However, as a facility manager, the responsibility lies more on you, and it has legal consequences. So that's what we're going to look at, the legal responsibilities and consequences of non-compliance. Facility managers have a legal duty to ensure fire safety and compliance. As a virtue of your position as a facility manager, you assume that responsibility. In larger organizations, you have the safety unit separately and you have the facility unit separately. They might be in the same department, they might be in the same sector. Most times they are not in the same sector, they are separate, but there is always a safety unit and there is always a facility unit in larger organizations, but they work together. However, the facility manager automatically becomes a member of the safety unit because part of your duty is toward safety of lives and properties within that facility. So you have a legal liability to ensure fire safety and compliance. How do you do this? You advise the stakeholders on what to do and how to do it as regards to fire safety and compliance. Do you have fire extinguishers within your facility? Are they complete according to the size of the facility? Do you have various types? CO2, foam? Do you have water sprinkler system? Do you have safety alarms that notifies you that fire is coming up? So these are necessary things that a facility manager should always be reminding the facility stakeholders about. And also carry out your inspection as much as possible. Always walk around, see if this where you have this firefighting equipments, you ensure that they are adequately maintained and ready. Fire doesn't happen every time. All through your stay in a facility, you might not have fire outbreak, but eventually fire does not notify you when it wants to happen. So that is why you always have to be proactive at all times. Inspect. So this is not a situation where you say, I did this inspection yesterday, I did it this morning. At all times, so you do it today, the next day you do it, the next day you do it. That's how you continue to do it. Fire does not give you a notification when it wants to happen. So you have to be ready, you have to be prepared. You have to carry out your inspection. You have to ensure that these equipments are duly and adequately maintained as at when due. Because as a facility manager, you have a legal responsibility to protect people, to protect lives and properties within that facility. Failure to comply can result in fines, penalties, or closure orders. Failure to comply results in fines and penalties, not just you as a facility manager, because you, in some instances, the facility manager will have to lose their license. The reputational damage it will even have on you as a facility manager, that within your facility there's a fire outbreak and a lot properties worth millions of naira got damaged, lives were lost. Dealing with that alone, you also have to think about the effect it will have on the facility itself, the business, the owners of the business. The business will be closed down, be loss of revenue. In most cases, government will come in and at times take over the property, and a lot of things might happen along the line. So that is also another angle a facility manager have to look into and ensure safety of lives and properties. Then non-compliance increases exposure to lawsuits and insurance claim. Non-compliance, people can institute a lawsuit against both your facility or against you as a facility manager. So let me give you an example. There was a facility I managed sometime about 2-3 years ago or 4 years ago, I can't really remember. So something happened and one of the facility occupants, one of the users, approached me and said, if this happens to me, I will sue you as a person for negligence. So you have to also know that the people in your facility take legal action against you for your negligence. The business you're working for might have facility manager for your negligence as well. So this is not like I am trying to, I'm threatening. I have a lot of responsibility as a facility manager to ensure that you have fire outbreak within your violation may lead to personal and organizational liability. So I explained this early enough. Personal, not just the organization you're working for, but you as a person too. You might have to pay fine. Legal consequences often escalate after injuries, fatalities, or major losses. Yeah, we all know how lawsuits happen in Nigeria, as a matter of fact. So it might linger, it might take years. Can we move to the next slide? So along the line, I talked about fire detectors, right? So this is where we have to talk about alarm systems, detectors, and early warning systems. When I manage a certain facility, I'm going to certain facility, and during that period, we were meant to understand, or we are meant to believe that your alarm system coming up is an escalation. We were meant to believe that whenever there's an alarm or fire detection, it's an escalation on your part as a facility manager. But I don't want you to believe that is true. That was actually false. Because what these equipments are meant to do is to alert both the facility manager, the facility users, occupants, and everyone within the facility of an imminent fire, just so you prepare and do what? Fight against that. So whenever this thing is doing their job, whenever there is an alarm, it is doing why it was installed. I am just saying this because then we believe that if there's an alarm, it's an offense, you haven't done what you're supposed to do. No. It even means that you as a facility manager, you were able to ensure that these things are up to date and well maintained to trigger an alarm when there is a sign of fire. So having said that, let's look at what these equipments do. Early detection provides critical time for safe evacuation. When you detect fire, you prepare for it. You make arrangement for evacuation. You make arrangement for what? Fighting against the fire. So that is what these things do. They help you to detect fire early enough. Smoke, heat, and flame detectors identify fire at different levels, just like the name, smoke. So when there's a smoke, it triggers this alarm, that is the smoke detector, trigger this alarm and alerts everyone within the facility. Then you can move in to identify where the smoke is coming from and prevent it before it escalates into fire. Heat does the same thing, but it does this in form of heat. Then flame, when there is fire itself, that is when flame picks or detects that something is happening. So they identify fire at different levels. They identify imminent fire at different levels, both smoke, both heat, and both flame. Audible and visual alarm alerts occupants and emergency team. Fire alarm system, that is alarm systems. So when they detect this, when the smoke detector detects, it triggers the alarm system and the alarm comes up. Then it notifies the occupants that something is happening somewhere, most likely fire. Most times your alarm might come up as a result of it might really not be fire, like smoke detector can even pick dust. Let's say someone is walking and drilling the wall within a smoke where there is a smoke detector. It can pick that and sends a wrong signal. Most times they actually call false alarm and send a false signal, and then the alarm picks it and starts blaring. In that case, it is a false alarm because there is no imminent smoke. There is no imminent fire. There is no actual fire. Might be as a result of human error or people working within the confines of these systems. Then system reliability depends on regular testing and maintenance. We talked about the importance of maintenance. We talked about how when this even work, it shows that the facility manager is adequately maintaining and promptly maintaining these facilities. So the reliability of this equipment we are talking about depends on how frequent, how often, how adequate they are being maintained. Do you maintain them once in a year? Do you maintain them every 6 months, every quarter? Depends on your organizational structure and system. But appropriately, these should be maintained every quarter, at most every 6 months. So you clean up the sensors and make them highly sensitive. Have the services of experienced and professional fire people. Some people use road safety, some people contract. Some people use fire, what do you call this fire system? Firefighters, yeah, fire service, yeah, federal government fire service unit. Some people use private businesses. The integrated warning system improves response speed and coordination. So what do we mean by integrated warning system? Integrated warning system are the system where these things are integrated together. You have the fire detectors. When they detect fire, they send a message to the alarm system. The alarm system signals to the sprinkler system, and sprinkler system does what? Sprinkler system releases the water. So this is an integrated system. That's how it works. You dictate, you notify, and then the water comes up. Then the water comes up. It improves response speed and also what? Coordination. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, so this is sprinklers, extinguishers, and suppression readiness. So I talked about this early enough. Sprinkler system control fire spread and reduces what? Heat buildup. It does this through what? Water. So it releases, so the water has some chemical mixtures in it. So once it releases those water, it reduces the heat and quench the fire. Fire extinguisher provide first response control for small fires. Understand this, small fires, they are not, so there are type of fires that you use different equipment to fight. I talked about this earlier. So for small fires, you usually respond to it very fast and swift. Correct placement ensures quick and safe access during emergencies. I've seen a lot of times where facilities build something like a protector system and install their fire extinguisher cylinder and lock it. That's a very wrong practice. It is very wrong in all shades. Why? In time of fire, people emotional balance changes. People panic a lot, and it's just a few people that can make informed and right decision when they are panicky. Just a few people. Just a few people would have that mental capacity to make the right decision in panic mode. So it is very wrong to put your fire extinguisher system in a place where it will be difficult to access during fire. So you have to place it where you can easily. So we could all relate that there are times when you will be in a panic mode. You can't even remember what you kept just a few seconds ago. You can't even remember the next or the best action to take. So placing a fire extinguisher in a place where you have to start looking for the key to unlock it, and you pick it is very wrong. You think more than 5 minutes, you think more than 3 minutes before you take an action. And again, where you should place it should be a place where not just you as a facility manager, but every other person within the facility can have access to it. This is not a time where you hide. Fire extinguisher cylinders are not what to hide. You have to keep them in a place where everyone would have access to it and everyone will see them, and properly label them. In your facility, you always should give a labeling direction to pick the fire extinguisher system. You don't put it in a place where they are locked. You don't put it in a place where it will be difficult to access. And there should be a direction to pick your fire extinguisher cylinder in a situation where there is a fire outbreak. As much as there should be an exit direction, that is egress direction, pick your fire extinguisher systems during fire outbreak. Regular inspection confirms pressure, coverage, and functionality. I talked about is always ensure that you inspect and know if these things are working, and ensure also that they are maintained as and when due with your what, the last maintenance date, and also the next placed on the system. Staff familiarity improves effective and confident organization. Like I said earlier, there's a fire safety unit. In a very small organization, there might. Hello, can someone hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So in a very small organization, there should be, it is the responsibility of the facility manager to train the occupants of the building, conduct fire drills, tell them how to use these fire extinguishers in case when there is fire outbreak, to or safety marshals to come and fight the fire. So that's what we are talking about. Staff familiarity improves effective and confident fire response. Remember what we said earlier. In the case of fire, only a few people can make rational decision. So it is always better you train these people and tell them at all times when there is fire, everyone should remain calm. Because people don't make right decisions when they are in panic mode. I will move to the next slide. And also help me to zoom the slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, can you zoom it? I just want to see the slide alone, not the entire screen. Exit capacity. Sorry, can you zoom out the slide, just the slide? Just like you are presenting it. Yeah. All right. Exit capacity, layout, and accessibility requirements. What we're talking about here is how to properly keep the exit capacity, how many people the exit should carry, the layout system of the exit, and the requirements. Exits must accommodate the total number of occupants safely and efficiently. So let's look at this. In a facility, there is always a separate fire exit. And that fire exit is not just one. It should be as much as in line with the capacity of the facility. If it is a very large capacity, it should have, if it's a facility that, let's say, accommodates about 400 and above, there should be exit route large enough to accommodate 400 people on the go. It is not necessarily going to be just one. Maybe across the corners of the building, across the corners of the facility, there should always be a large exit route so everyone can be evacuated with ease. Layout should minimize travel distance and prevent bottleneck during evacuation. What he's talking about is there should be ease of exit. People shouldn't have to spend more time leaving this facility. So sometimes there's what they call exit tube, right? So once people jump into it, it shoots out of the facility to the muster point. So exit routes you should ensure that when designing, so this is a design issue now. That is why we talk about, at all times, we talk about involving a facility manager during the construction of this facility. So your exit route should minimize the travel time, the time you leave the facility during a fire outbreak. That is why it is always advised, during fire, don't use the lift. During fire, take the stairs, take the ramp. You can take the fire capsule, yeah. So just so you leave the facility as early as possible. Preventing bottlenecks. So this exit route we are talking about, you should ensure that it's not clogged. It is always free. The exit route should be free of obstacles, so that's why we're talking about housekeeping as well. It shouldn't be that during fire now evacuating people. During fire outbreak, you're evacuating people, and then there is one table that is blocking people's exit. There is one chair that is somewhere, and people have to start looking for how to maneuver, jump over it. No, it should be free of any obstacles. That's what we're talking about, to prevent bottlenecks during evacuation. Those corridors, that's accessibility standards. One thing I is we don't make provision for people with disabilities. The size of the facility to accommodate enough people at the same time. Exit with wheelchairs should be able to access and evacuate the facility when there is fire outbreak. So that's what we're talking about. Proper design ensures safety egress for people with disabilities. Maintaining clear and compliant escape routes. How do you maintain a clear and a compliant escape route? An escape route that is compliant, that meets the standard. How do you maintain that? How do you keep that? Keep all exit routes free from obstacles, clutter, and storage items. We talked about this earlier. Let there be a free exit. The exit route should be free without obstacles. Regularly inspect corridors, stairwells, and doors for what? Accessibility. And another thing is, most times these exit routes are not often used by people, right? What this now does is cleaners don't often pay attention to that. There are a lot of cobwebs, they are dusty, lighting system are not even functional because fire doesn't come anytime and fire doesn't notify anybody. So people often neglect this exit route and don't attend to them. They don't clean them, they don't wash them, but that is a very wrong practice. So you have to inspect these exit routes regularly to ensure that they are accessible at all times. Ensure emergency lighting and signage are functional and what? Visible. You don't use the normal connection you use for every other part of the facility for the exit route. Why? Can someone answer this? Let me know if we are even on this class. Why is it that you don't use, it is not advisable, it's not a standard to use the normal connection, electrical connection you have within the facility for the exit route? Let's see if we have people here. Can someone respond to that? Why is it that we don't use the normal electrical connection we have in the facility for the exit route? Sorry, can someone hear me? Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm asking. Okay, yeah, you can talk. Samsung, SM, something. I didn't see your name.
Okay, yes, sir. So, good afternoon, sir. With the little knowledge I have and regarding what you said, so I feel like because the lights around the facility can trip off based off the power outage that could be caused by the breakout of fire. So basically, the connection should be different because there should be lights across the exit route for people to be able to see and ensure that okay, everybody has been, the occupants are properly, safe. Like just like you said, the exit route should free from obstacles because if there is no light, darkness is an obstacle as well. It should just allow everybody to be, you know, um, crowded and jumping on each other that could lead to injuries as well.
That's perfect. You deserve a token. After this class, we might have a discussion about that. That's just the perfect answer to that. Whatever it is that is causing that fire outbreak might be affecting the electrical connection. So if you have the same connection on the exit route, that light will go off automatically, and that automatically causes another obstacle, because darkness is an obstacle. Thank you very much for that. That's perfect. So let's move forward. Update escape route when building layouts or occupancy changes. There might be times facility stakeholders might want to make some changes, adjustments, renovations. As much as possible, when these things happen, you also have to update it and relabel escape routes, put a new direction where people can easily see the escape route during what? Fire outbreak. Then what we do constantly as facility managers, train staff to recognize and maintain safe evacuation paths. Let your staff know where to run to. Let them know how to run. Let them know what to do. First, that is always what we say. Whenever there's a fire outbreak, if you're not a professional, leave. Just run. And this is not a situation where you want to start running and you start looking for what to carry. Leave first, safety first, before every other thing. And whenever you run out of fire outbreak, your instinct should automatically tell you that you are going to where? The muster point. Because that is where everyone will be, and a head count will be taken to identify if everyone is where, if everyone is safe, or if there are still people that are trapped within the fire. So this might really not sound, we might be looking at this as somewhat far-fetched imagination, but if you've seen real fire outbreak, you would understand what we're talking about. Some people will be trapped, and you would even not remember that, oh, you have not seen this person, you have not seen this person. So most times when you maybe you tag in or you write your name at a security point when you're visiting a facility, what they do most times with that, in fact, that is even one of the reasons they do that, to know the people that are currently on that building at the moment, in case if there's anything, check with the name and confirm if everyone is safe at the muster point. So that's also another thing to let people know. Whenever you ensure that that person goes straight, if that person is not there, it will be assumed that the person is still trapped. And it will be very disastrous and catastrophic that someone left the fire location and it's nowhere to be found out. People will still be looking for the person within the fire or around there. So whenever you are running out of fire, can we move to the next slide? Developing effective evacuation plan. So we have to be very fast due to our time. So how do you develop effective evacuation plan? 1, map all exit routes and assembly points for quick reference. Assign clear roles and responsibility to staff and emergency team. Let everyone be clear of their responsibilities. Let there be no ambiguity. What are you doing? Let me understand what my roles and responsibilities are in case of fire. Consider the needs of visitors, contractors, and occupants with what? Disabilities. We talked about this earlier, I mentioned this. Coordinate with local emergency services for seamless response. Yes, contact the fire service unit. You have to have their number at all times. Regularly review and update plans to reflect layout or operational challenges. I talked about this. If there is a renovation, effect it on the plan, on a paper, document it for what? Effective operational layout. So can we move to the next slide? conducting drills and emergency simulations, schedule regular fire drills to test evacuation procedures and what readiness. How ready are you? How ready are your safety marshals? You have to do a simulation. Assume there's a fire. Test your equipments. Put on the alarm system and see the readiness of people. So something happened within my facility sometime. So we had we started having repeated fire alarm, repeated false fire alarm. So people got used to that. So whenever it happens, people will just relax. Now so it happen, right? That is a very wrong practice. If people get relaxed that this is how it's always happening, when there is an actual fire, people will be relaxed. So you have to conduct what fire drill to test the readiness of people. Whenever they hear this alarm, everybody should be triggered to exit the building. That is the essence of conducting fire drills. Do a simulation. Simulate different emergency scenarios to assess response effectiveness. Simulate different emergency situations. There is a fire, maybe it's an alarm, maybe there's a need for someone to use the extinguisher, sprinkler system, all those things. Create different scenarios and see the readiness of people. Maybe there's a fire somewhere and then someone is passing. What are they triggered to run or to try to fight the fire? So create different scenarios and see how ready and effective people will be. Track evacuation time and identify bottlenecks or obstacles. We talked about something. We said the exit route should reduce travel time. So what you do is you track evacuation time. How many minutes does it take people to leave this property, this building, this facility when there is a fire outbreak? Is it a longer time? So if fire is coming and moving at a certain speed, will people leave this before they get caught up in fire or something? So that is what you have to do. You track evacuation time, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 second, and identify what are the bottlenecks. Is this as a result of clogged or cluttered exit routes? In fact, everybody should be involved in fire drills. Every single person that is within that facility should be involved in a fire drill. Use feedbacks from drills to update plans and improve preparedness. So one thing we don't often practice very well in this society is feedbacks, surveys. Most times we are scared. What would these people say? But then those things are what? Feedbacks are the things that make you prepare for subsequent actions, right? So whenever there's a drill, conduct a survey, do an interview, have people's feedback, and then you improve upon what you have already established. Next slide, please. The facility manager role in fire safety management. Your role as a facility manager, all what we have mentioned actually is your role as a facility manager. 1, ensure all fire safety systems and equipments are installed and maintained properly. To develop, implement, and update fire safety policies and emergency plans. You have to develop, implement it, and also update fire safety policies and emergency plans. Train and educate staff on fire prevention, response, and evacuation procedures. Constant training. As a facility manager, you can never run around training. So if you're not very good at training people, you have to start building it now. To conduct regular inspection audits and risk assessment to identify what hazards. Always carry out your inspection, do audits, do risk assessment to identify hazards. That connection that always sparks at interval, that's a hazard. That rock that is opening, when people walk, they hit it. That's a hazard as well. So do your audit and identify all hazards and do what? You eliminate hazards. Can we move to the next slide? Sorry, can we move to the next slide? I quickly have to rush up before so that we can catch up with time. Can we move to the next slide, please? Engaging occupants, contractors, and service providers. So as a facility manager, we have to educate occupants on fire risks, prevention, and emergency procedures. That is a part of training. Involve contractors in safety planning and ensure adherence to protocols. So your contractors should also be involved in safety planning because everyone that is visiting the facility is part of the facility. And your contractors have one or two things to do, especially the contractors that are involved with your fire safety and the protocols. Coordinate with service providers to maintain alarm suppression and exit system. Communicate roles and responsibilities clearly during emergencies. We said this earlier, let everyone know what their responsibility is. The safety marshal should know that it is their responsibility to ensure that everyone is evacuated at the facility. The security team should also know that at all times, the muster point should be free. No emergency should not, emergencies should not lead to a very grievous outcome during your facility. Then foster collaboration to build a shared culture of safety and vigilance. As the security team are patrolling, whenever they observe anything that is a hazard, they should feel free. That is why collaboration is very important. They should feel free to notify you, the facility manager, of things that are not proper within the facility. Next slide, please. Fire safety inspection and compliance audit. Conduct regular inspection to identify hazard and system deficiencies. We talked about this earlier. Verify that alarm detectors, sprinklers, and extinguishers are what functional. That is by your inspection. That's an audit. Ensure exit route signages and emergency lighting meets regulatory standards. Document findings and track corrective actions to maintain compliance. Then use audit to benchmark performance and strengthen safety first culture. Safety first, that should be a culture within your facility. So when you have done your audit, you use it to benchmark the performance for every other person that is involved within the facility. Can we move to the next slide? Corrective actions and sustaining a zero excuse culture. Stop making excuses. Remember when we started, we said zero excuses. So you promptly address or identify fire hazards and what? Compliance gap. Address them where you notice them. No excuses. Implement long-term solutions, not just temporal. Implement a very long-term solution. Temporal fixes are just temporal. They don't solve problems on the long run. So that is why you have to be what? Proactive. Monitor the effectiveness of corrective measures over time. The corrective measure that you're implementing, are they functional? Are they working? You monitor them. Promote accountability to all levels of the organization. That's what I said earlier. Everyone should know what they are supposed to do. Everyone at all times should know this is my responsibility, and no shortcuts are allowed. This is culture building. Everyone should know this at the top of their mind. This is what I am supposed to do. This is my responsibility. Safety first. No shortcuts. You don't have to cheat the system. Next slide, please. Conclusion. So conclusively, we are saying that fire safety is non-negotiable responsibility for all facility managers. We still hint this. manager. Compliance with codes and standards protect lives, assets, and what? Reputations. One thing about compliance is when you comply, there is likelihood that these things, there won't even be fire because you are compliant. But even if you are compliant and eventually there is something, when someone looks at your record, they will know that there is maximum compliance. So this might actually be, they call it act of God, right? This might actually be an act of God, unavoidable situation. But when there is something and they look at your record and you don't comply, automatically you bear the whole responsibility. Effective evacuation. Okay, yes. So when I'm done, we'll talk. Effective evacuation plan and drills save lives during emergencies. Regular inspection, audit, and corrective actions ensure readiness. Then zero excuse culture embeds accountability, awareness, and continuous improvement. They said to whom much is given, much is what? Always expected. There is no 100% perfection. You keep doing what? Improving at all times. As facility managers, I believe with this, you are better informed about fire code standards. You are better informed on how to prevent, avoid, or reduce to the barest minimum fire incidences within your facility. With this, I also believe that you have learned that continuous training is very essential for your facility team and also for the occupants and users of your facility. Thank you very much for your time. I know that we have taken 14 minutes into your time as well. At this point, we have come to the end of the class. Thank you very much once again, and have a great day ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chinedu, for that wonderful presentation. Yeah. So all questions should be dropped on our WhatsApp group. I'll drop the number now. I'll drop the link to join now. So thank you for taking your time to join today's lunch hour section. We truly appreciate your presence, your engagement, and your support. And also a gentle reminder that our registration for our FMMC training is still ongoing. If you are yet to register or you know someone who would benefit from the training, kindly take advantage of this opportunity. We have 5% discount going on presently. And also our orientation would be holding on the 12th of January. That's next week, Monday.
Okay, for those people that are still on this class, I will really, for those people that are still on this class, I would really encourage you to take up this FMCC program. It is very, very necessary and it will help your career growth in facility management. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.